Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel Chemistry Unfolded. So in the previous video we have studied about the UV visible spectroscopy and now we are going to deal with the IR spectroscopy. So let's get started. First of all, the introduction. IR spectroscopy uses the IR radiation. The most important criteria for the molecule to be IR active is to have a change in the permanent dipole moment, and the graph of IR spectroscopy is plotted against vibrational frequency and transmittance. So the factors affecting IR spectroscopy. There are three major factors which do changes in your IR frequency. Okay, so the first factor is the force constant, second factor is the reduced mass, and the third is the electronics factor. And all of these factors are mostly dependent on the formula given. That is, there's a small error here. This is nu is equal to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k upon mu. So everything basically depends on this formula itself. So the force constant. Now since in the previous video we can see that the frequency is directly related to the force constant k, we can say the bond having the higher force constant will have a higher frequency. So as a result, a triple bond will have a higher frequency. Then the double bond will have the next higher frequency and the single bond will have the least. So this is the factors which influence the force constant and therefore the frequency. Next is reduced mass. As we have seen in the formula, the frequency is inversely related to the reduced mass. So what we can see is higher the reduced mass, lower will be the frequency. Now from these two molecules that bonds that I have given, that is C double bond C and C double bond O, we know that the reduced mass is higher for carbonyl, that is C double bond O. But notice that the frequency for carbonyl is much less as compared to the C double bond C group. Okay. So this factor you must keep in mind, that frequency is directly related to force constant K and it is inversely related to your reduced mass. And I hope you know the formula how you calculate the reduced mass. It is mu is equal to mass 1 mass 2 divided by m1 plus m2. Next, you have your frequency table which shows you the range within which each type gives your frequency band. Okay, so this you can have a look at. Now your order for carbonyl compounds. This is a very important question that could be asked, like they may give you certain compounds and they may ask you to arrange them in their increasing or a decreasing order. So it is important to know this order along with frequency. You may not by heart, but just remember the range. Okay. So first comes the anhydride, then the acid chloride, again anhydride. This is the second bend of the anhydride. Then your ester, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid and your amide. Very, very important. Now the factors affecting the CO frequency. Now here what happens, there are certain groups which will make your CO frequency much more higher, whereas certain groups will reduce the frequency. So let us have a look at this. Your first factor is the plus I effect so what you have to do is, here what happens is the presence of an electron donating group what will they do? They will decrease your carbonyl frequency. So you see, when you have just the formaldehyde, your frequency is 1750. The minute you add a CH3, it reduces by 5. So it will become 1745. When you have acetone, that is two CH3 groups attached to your CO, so it becomes 1718. So if you have an electron donating group, your carbonyl frequency decreases. But the reverse case, that is your minus R effect, if you have an electron withdrawing group instead, your carbonyl frequency increases. So you see, first when you have just two electron donating group, your frequency is 1718 centimeters inverse. Then you add one chlorine group, that is your electron withdrawing group, your frequency increases to 1725, and when you have two Cl2 groups, it increases to 1735. So what is a must to increase frequency is your electron withdrawing group. Now third factor is your ring strain. What ring strain tells you is that a smaller ring will have a higher carbonyl frequency. So the cyclopropanone will have the highest frequency, followed by cyclobutanone, cyclopentanone and cyclohexanone. Okay, to tell you very frequently, last year there was a question with regards to ring strain in the question paper. Though I guess in the syllabus it is not mentioned about IR spectroscopy as such, but questions do come, and that is where graduation students mostly don't get to attempt because they are not taught at this level. Okay, so it is better that you know these factors. Actually, there are a lot of reasons for explanation for this question, why the ring strain uh, increases, so the frequency increases. But in short, if you want to remember, just remember this, that as the ring strain increases, the carbonyl frequency also increases. So since this question is asked last year, you may focus in the other points. Okay. Similarly, in the case of UV visible spectroscopy, what they did last year was that they gave three compounds. They asked to determine the lambda max values, and they are asked to match with the options. Like one option will have all the three lambda max values correct, the others we have one correct, two correct, like that. Okay. Then next is the conjugation. Now, if you see an increase in conjugation, that there will be a decrease in CO frequency. Okay, now if you see in the first one, there is no conjugation at all. So you see 1745 as your carbonyl frequency. The minute you add one CH2, that is a conjugated system, you make it, the frequency reduces. I hope you all like the video. If you like, please share it among your friends and subscribe to my channel.